Coming up, travel to Central Florida for an exclusive tour of Walt Disney World Resort hotels and check in to a world of imagination.
There's always something exciting, something to discover.
Get ready for an inside look at all the details that make Disney resorts a one-of-a-kind experience.
It makes you feel like you're right in the middle of the magic.
Hear the story of how Walt Disney's vision went from dream to reality.
Believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Productions.
Go back to the beginning to discover the roots of a revolutionary hotel and its signature icon.
We were all screaming like, oh my gosh, we're going through the hotel. What a cool thing.
Then discover the more than 20 hotels at Walt Disney World Resort today, each with its own special story.
We create the immersive places for our guests to lose themselves in.
Find secret treasures in rooms fit for royalty and experience an African adventure that gets up close and personal with the resort's most wild residents. Then, explore Disney's Art of Animation Resort and see how this place puts you right into the scene.
You physically become part of the set. You're there.
Catch it all at Walt Disney World Resort Hotels. Walt Disney World Resort near Orlando, Florida, has become a world-renowned destination, hosting millions of guests every year.
It's our first time at Disney World ever, and it's just amazing.
Well, when we were a young couple, we came here.
Our first anniversary.
I used to, since she was 3 years old, brought her to Disney on her birthday for 25 years.
The entire property covers nearly 40 square miles, and it houses 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, and the shopping and entertainment district at downtown Disney.
There really are very few places, perhaps no other place like Walt Disney World on Earth, that has such an offering of theme parks, recreational activities, shopping, and dining.
I've been to Disney World probably close to 100 times in my lifetime. I have never had the same experience twice. There are so many things to do and see.
And another big part of the vacation experience is the array of hotels that allow guests to stay within Walt Disney World Resort.
There are special touches that can only happen when you're staying in one of our resorts. And then probably the best advantage of all is the proximity to our parks. You're so close. So there's nothing better than coming to the park, enjoying the morning, and then being able to go back quickly to your resort, lay around the pool and relax, and then come back to one of the parks in the evening.
There are more than 20 Disney Resort hotels across Walt Disney World Resort, with lots to choose from when it comes to scope and cost.
You know, we learned early on that if this is to be the place on Earth where everybody comes, you need to have accommodations that take care of lots of different kinds of guests. And so over time, we have built deluxe hotels, we have value resorts, we have everything in between.
The hotels also cover a wide range in regards to ambiance. Disney's special team of Imagineers designs each of them to have its own look, feel, and storyline.
So as Imagineers, we are the dreamers and doers. We create the immersive places for our guests to lose themselves in. I think that's obvious in the parks. What some people may not know is that we also do that for all of the hotels and resorts as well. So the same attention to detail, the same amount of thought goes into the design of the hotels so that we can allow our guests to continue that immersive experience and create memories together.
When you stay at a Disney resort on property, it makes you feel like you're right in the middle of the magic. You may leave the theme park, but you get to go back to a beautifully themed resort. There's gorgeous rooms, there's tons of fun.
Those themed resorts come in many different, elaborate settings. Walk among larger-than-life cultural icons at Disney's Pop Century Resort. Enter the excitement of the Atlantic City Boardwalk. Or discover the romance of colonial Mexico at Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. Find island adventure at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, where guests can stay in themed pirate rooms with a swashbuckling motif.
Once we pick a story for a resort, we want to make sure the architecture, the outside, and the interiors inside, and the graphics, and the lighting fixtures, and the carpets, and the furniture, they all are part of the overall design. part of the overall story.
Creating an all-encompassing atmosphere means not limiting the storyline to just the hotel. Restaurants are designed to go along with each resort's specific flavor.
Walt Disney Imagineering is doing a lot of work in making sure they create the most immersive experience for the guest, and it would be sad not to do the same for the food and beverage.
And each resort has its own style of fun. For example, there's huge variety in the many different resort pools, including all kinds of thematic water features. At Disney's Yacht and Beach Resorts, there's even a real sand-bottom pool to go along with the seaside feel. And when it comes to other recreation, at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, the activities are far removed from city life, with boating, fishing, horseback riding, and marshmallow roasting over a campfire.
Let me know when you're ready for your chocolate.
Part of what you want, the guests want, and what we as Imagineers know we must deliver and get very excited to deliver is a variety of experiences, a variety of themes that our guests can enter into. And we know that there's excitement in those varieties.
Staying at one of the Disney Resort hotels also has some additional perks.
We have extra magic hours that are available for guests who are staying in our resorts. We have an incredible on-site transportation system, so wherever you want to go, there's a way for you to get there, whether it's the monorail system, the boat system, or our bus system. We have the Disney's Magical Express, so if you're flying into Orlando, you check your bag at your departure city, you put your tag on it, and your bag shows up in your room once you arrive here in Orlando.
All you have to do is walk from your plane down to the bus, get on the bus. You don't have to worry about your luggage, don't have to worry about taking anything with you. You just get on and go. As soon as you get here, the fun starts, and your luggage is in your room with you for you later on in the afternoon.
Creating a magical place where families can take a true vacation goes back to the vision of Walt Disney himself when he designed his theme parks.
We hope that it will be unlike anything else on this earth. A place of hopes and dreams, facts and fancy, all in one.
He wanted a place where the guests could escape from the realities of the world and come to a place where everything was as it should be.
And coming up, find out how it all began. Hear how Walt's vision expanded from west to east, and find out why he chose Florida for his ambitious project.
It finally ended up to be about the same size as the city of San Francisco.
Plus, go inside one of the original Walt Disney World Resort hotels and discover its roots, from the experimental building method.
Everything was lifted into place and slid in like a chest of drawers,
to the revolutionary monorail.
This idea of being able to ride in a monorail that Disney built was just simply amazing.
With Disney Fast Pass Plus, you can reserve access to attractions and experiences before you go.
Be our guest, be our guest. Let our magic do the rest. Just think of all the fun, Sherry. Your time will be the best. Meet the princess, what a treat. You've booked ahead, so here's a seat. Get on rides in less time makes every memory divine.
Stay at select Walt Disney World Resort hotels and enjoy new Fast Pass Plus during our test.
Be our guest, be our guest, be our guest.
Walt Disney found success in California when opening Disneyland in 1955. So, 10 years later, he announced a plan to open another venue.
And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Production.
Finding the ideal location for this new theme park meant focusing on another warm climate.
We started thinking, well, there's only one other place in the United States where you can operate all year round besides California, and that was Florida.
Then Walt zeroed in on an area just south of Orlando, thanks to its easy access for tourists.
The important thing is that the Disney World is located just a few miles from the crossing point of Interstate 4 and Sunshine State Parkway, Florida's major highways carrying motors east and west and north and south to the center of the state.
Finally ended up to be 28,000 acres, which is amazingly about the same size as the city of San Francisco and twice as large as Manhattan Island.
The large property was able to accommodate Walt's vision to add hotels alongside the attractions.
He said, I want to make sure that we can provide not only enjoying for the theme park experience in the Magic Kingdom, for example, but also in the evenings and night in the theme resorts. And the idea is that we want to give the guest a seamless experience from the beginning to the end. And so that is something unique, because that's why Walt Disney World became the first destination resort in America.
Walt never lived to see the completion of his dream. He passed in 1966, and Walt Disney World Resort opened in 1971 with the Magic Kingdom theme park and 3 resort hotels: Disney's Polynesian Resort, Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, and Disney's Contemporary Resort.
The Contemporary was very special because that term, contemporary, meant that we were trying to do something that represented a step into the future. And we made a deal with U.S. Steel to actually build those hotel rooms off-site and put all the amenities into it. All the beds, the wallpaper, the toilets, everything was put in those rooms off-site, trucked to Walt Disney World, lifted into place, and slid into Disney's Contemporary Resort, like putting a chest of drawers into a framework. But the problem they had was actually moving the rooms on the Florida highways.
Once the construction was completed, the Contemporary became an instant icon.
It was considered state-of-the-art, largest hotel probably in the state of Florida at that point, but certainly in Central Florida. And it was iconic. As guests, arrived in those first days, they walked into the hotel just simply stunned, feeling like they were in the middle of the Disney experience already, and only having just arrived to the property. It just was jaw-dropping.
And the biggest sensation was the monorail, running right through the middle of the hotel.
When we opened originally in 1971, there are many things that guests were excited about, as you can imagine, but this idea of being able to ride in a monorail that Disney built was just simply amazing.
First time we came here was 1972.
The first time we rode it, we didn't realize it went straight through the middle of the hotel. We were all screaming like, oh my gosh, we're going through the hotel. What a cool thing.
And these people wore these weird little uniforms with these little round hats, and when they get out of the car to open the doors, they used to have to press buttons to let you out, so they'd walk all up and down the monorail. It was really cool.
Throughout the decades, the monorail and resort have withstood the test of time.
Even though what was contemporary back in 1971 when the resort opened has changed and evolved over the years, Disney's Contemporary Resort is timeless and is contemporary still today. We have guests that come back year after year after year, and it's a very special place for our guests.
You walk in and they say, welcome home, and you really are. It's like coming back to a favorite place over and over, and otherwise, why would we come back 55 times?
Inside the resort, the restaurants continue to be a popular draw. Chef Mickey's is a place to dine with the big guy himself. And the California Grill sits exclusively on the hotel's top level.
Even though we didn't know exactly what Walt Disney World was going to be like exactly back in the 60s, the forethought to put this restaurant at the very top of the resort, overlooking the Magic Kingdom, overlooking the monorail, was visionary. And today, it still serves that purpose, that our guests not only will have a terrific dining experience at the California Grill, but they can also walk outside on our observation decks and they can see everything across Walt Disney World property.
Imagineers wanted to keep that amazing view unobstructed, so in a recent renovation, they used an open, streamlined design.
We knew we needed to stay true to Walt's original vision, and so the concept behind the California Grill with this reimagineering of it is that it's mid-century contemporary or mid-century modern. So if you think about the decade of the 50s and the 60s, there are a lot of influences here in the restaurant that harken back to that era, even down to the carpet.
The carpet's color and design is an homage to Mary Blair, a legendary Disney animator and Imagineer with a distinct artistic style.
Mary Blair is known here at Walt Disney World for being the designer of our 90-foot mosaic in the Contemporary Resort, which everybody knows and loves.
At night, it's the California Grill's grand finale. Being on top of the world makes this room with a view one of the most coveted locations to watch the fireworks over the Magic Kingdom. When the theme parks at Walt Disney World Resort expanded and Epcot opened in 1982, its success meant more demand for accommodations.
So we embarked on a very ambitious resort plan that we want to build about 15,000 hotel rooms. But we just don't want to build just any hotel. Every hotel Disney designs or builds will have a story. And where do we find the stories? We research where people like to go on their vacation. We said instead of for them to go to those places, we bring those destinations to Disney World.
And coming up, explore the many destinations that now fill Walt Disney World Resort. Travel to New Orleans to check out royal rooms filled with hidden treasures. And take in luxury at a resort that embodies the elegance of old Florida.
It evokes that timeless Victorian feeling of charm and grace.
Plus, journey into an international adventure.
These big thatched roofs establish a sense of being in Africa.
Then check out the first Disney hotel that puts you right into a movie.
Destination America presents your Disney side. The side of you that comes out to play the moment your family steps through the gates of a Disney theme park. Just because you're a grown-up doesn't mean you can't have fun.
I screamed and yelled so much, I've lost my voice.
Your Disney side is no joke. You'll hear it before you see it. Giggling, laughing, carrying on.
It's a magical place. I cry when I walk in. I cry when I leave.
It's my favorite place.
A dream come true! Your Disney side is that fun, I don't care who sees me carrying on like this side.
This place is not a normal theme park. It's a world. It captures magic and brings it to life here.
Like you're a kid again.
He was funny. And he also told us that we need to say dude for the rest of the day.
In a word, it's excellent. The laughs are just getting...
Walt Disney World Resort hosts visitors from all over the world. And for those staying in the resort hotels, easy transport around the property is key. So right away, Walt Disney took advantage of Florida's natural waterways and even created his own to help the cause.
With the design of the Magic Kingdom, we had a natural waterway there called Bay Lake. But we didn't have one right in front of where the Magic Kingdom Park was actually going to be built. And so we actually excavated that land and created what is now Seven Seas Lagoon, so that guests arriving would be able to have a ferry boat experience over to the park.
Today, all types of watercraft carry guests to parks and hotels all across Walt Disney World Resort. And for the hotels that surround Seven Seas Lagoon, there's something else. Each has a different theme that ties directly back to areas in the nearby Magic Kingdom.
The Contemporary Hotel is the backdrop of Tomorrowland. So that's the only hotel you can see from the Magic Kingdom. So if you're in the Magic Kingdom Tomorrowland, you can glimpse, because the story blends in. The foreground's Tomorrowland, the background's Tomorrowland, tomorrow's architecture.
Across the lagoon, the Polynesian resort was built to go along with Adventureland. And the Grand Floridian matches up with Main Street.
You know, the Main Street USA is a turn of the century, 19th century Victorian architecture. So we picked that theme to design the Grand Floridian resort to celebrate part of the Main Street. Therefore, these 3 resorts are really part of the extension of the Magic Kingdom experience.
The nostalgia that's part of Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa harkens back to Florida's past. The elegant design and architecture is reminiscent of the splendor of the 19th century resorts built by Henry Flagler, the founder of Standard Oil and key developer of Miami and Palm Beach.
Well, the atmosphere of the Grand Floridian is one of luxury. It evokes that timeless Victorian feeling of just charm and grace.
Every resort we've stayed at has been different, but when you walk in here, it truly feels grand.
And when you think about the Grand Floridian and you walk the grounds of the Grand Floridian, the things that you notice most of all is just how beautiful it is. The theme, and from a horticulture standpoint, just puts you in the mood of relaxation. Those typical English gardens that allows you to just wander and have relaxing conversation, not just as a couple, but as family. And it's just a soothing environment.
We love to come back to the Grand Floridian after a long day at the park and just feel that peacefulness, the sereneness, look around at the beautiful landscaping.
To go along with the beauty of the resort is its signature restaurant, Victoria and Albert's.
Victoria and Albert's is a 5-diamond restaurant. It's been 5-diamond restaurant for 14 years consecutive. With a 5-diamond status, it requires just every little detail to be perfect, and nothing can be overlooked.
Once guests are tucked into the restaurant's fine ambiance, it's a big step away from the hustle and bustle of the theme parks.
For many, it's vacation from the vacation, what I call it. You know, it's a perfect opportunity for the adult couple to come in and have a very romantic evening and don't even think about time.
Victoria and Albert's has a main dining room and the cozier 4-table Queen Victoria's room. And for a truly exclusive dining experience, there's the chef's table, located right in the kitchen.
What we do back here is we personalize and customize the menu. It's a 10-course, but it can go up to 13 or 14 courses. The great thing about being back here, you get full view of the culinary, slicing, dicing, chopping, flambeing, and all that fun stuff that goes along with cooking. And so it's all fun, it's all relaxed back here. It's like being in my house right here.
Across Walt Disney World Resort, travel to Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside, a place where boats sail along the easy, breezy bayou.
The overall feel of the resort, it's, think about the South and the rich history of the South. We've got our own version of the Mississippi, which is called the Sassagoula River. We've got our swampy bayou called the Alligator Bayou area, so it kind of immerses people into that Louisiana feel. We've got the beautiful, majestic mansions. It's kind of a little bit of time lost way back when, where you can come in here and you can just get immersed at the ambiance of it.
Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside sits on 500 acres and can be explored by land on a Surrey bike or by water in a pontoon boat. And beneath the majestic magnolias, there are movies under the stars, a nightly feature at many of the Walt Disney World Resort hotels.
We will run a full-length Disney movie for our guests and gives them just a moment to relax for a little bit in their vacation and just enjoy a Disney movie.
Inside part of the resort are royal guest rooms, inspired by Disney royalty, with majestic headboards as the centerpiece.
You can push these little buttons and we have beautiful fiber optic fireworks that go off. And the background is kind of the swampy bayou. So it's just like a kiss goodnight for the little girls and boys. It really brings the whole room to life.
And if you look closely around the room, you'll discover royal treasure.
Cinderella has left her coat rack, so it's got the coach on it. Aladdin's carpet is embedded in the carpet, as well as in your sinks, you've got the genie lamps.
For Disney, these are the kinds of details they never want to overlook.
Our way of hosting our guests at Walt Disney World is to always put them in a story. So for us, once we set the story, then our job is to immerse the guests at every juncture in components of that story.
And there are many more tales to be told. Coming up, Take a walk on the wild side at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge for an all-encompassing epic African adventure.
We have 46 acres of savanna, over 250 animals, 30 different species.
Then, dive into the world of animation and explore film favorites.
Good boy. Destination America reminds you that we have a lot of land and sea to cover as we celebrate your Disney side. Disney Week.
The idea of creating one-of-a-kind places for families to enjoy has been Disney's mission ever since Walt Disney opened Disneyland in the 1950s, which means close attention to every detail at their parks and resort hotels.
You know, families today are pulled apart by a lot of what happens in the daily world. So when a family chooses to go away on vacation, one of the things that an environment like this does, because it is so rich in detail, it is so rich in experiences, it gives the family at all these different ages something to talk about and to really, really be with each other.
One place with plenty to discover is Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, where guests enter the world of Africa.
Even though the Animal Kingdom Lodge is, of course, a hotel, for us it is also a show scene. It's a series of scenes. And the first one is this seeing as you come around the corner, there's yellow grasses and thin flat-top trees all around, and these big thatched roofs of the front entry of the lodge. So this sort of establishes a sense of being in Africa. The next big moment is through the doors and into the main lobby, and it's a window that opens through to the savannah beyond. So now again, you've sort of established this setting.
The grand lobby is 6 stories high and crowned with chandeliers made of shields, fashioned in the Maasai tradition, with each color and pattern signifying special meanings. This is part of the overall goal to create an environment that celebrates Africa's epic adventure while remaining as authentic as possible.
Most every piece of art that we have here at the lodge, over 800 pieces, is all uniquely done out of Africa. Even the wood shields on each of the doors is uniquely crafted and very authentic from Zimbabwe.
And the cast here also adds to the overall experience.
We actually have, on any given time, around 50 African nationals that we call cultural representatives. And they come from various countries to share a little bit of themselves.
I'm a cultural representative here at Disney Animal Kingdom Lodge from South Africa, Pretoria. Guests really interact with us and ask a lot of questions, and it's one of my favorite things to teach people how we live and how it's different from American culture.
The resort is shaped like a series of horseshoes, each wrapping around a wild centerpiece. 4 savannas filled with African birds and exotic animals.
We have 46 acres of savanna here at the property. Over 250 animals, 30 different species, and the beauty is they are out 22 hours of the day.
It's just amazing. I could live here. It's beautiful. You wake up every morning and see the animals, have your coffee in the quiet, and just kind of meditate and feel at peace.
The habitats are specially developed to provide the right enrichment for the animals, and specialists are on hand to make sure they're all well taken care of.
That includes our veterinarians, that includes our scientists. We have an animal nutritionist on staff.
One fantastic vantage point overlooking the grazing animals is in the finest room in the house.
We're very proud of the Royal Asante Suite, our presidential suite. It is around 2,200 square feet. It does sleep 8 individuals, and it's got a beautiful dining room and a beautiful, beautiful patio area that overlooks our sunset savanna.
Guests staying at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge have the opportunity to get right out onto the savannah with animal care specialists on a special safari, which ends at the resort's signature restaurant. Jiko means the cooking place in Swahili and features authentic African cuisine. Disney's restaurant teams do plenty of research to ensure that their dining atmospheres and menus are an accurate extension of the resort theme.
We went together to Africa to discover Africa. We went to Zulu tribe just to see how people live. And anywhere you go in Africa, fire is a source of life. So it was really important when you walk into the restaurant, that big oven and the fireplace right there.
The first thing I expect from the guests, especially the first-timers, is that they just didn't realize that they were going to enjoy African food as much as they were, because it's not something that we usually get an opportunity to taste a lot of different African flavors. So it's just a new experience.
But it was like the best food I've ever had, and I liked getting to experience the other culture's food, and it was so much better than you originally would have thought it would have been.
Jico is also known for its regional wine collection.
We feature a wine list here that is 100% South African. We house one of the largest collections of South African wine outside of South Africa.
A restaurant located nearby at Disney's Animal Kingdom Villas is the only place guests can dine while looking out at the savannah. It's called Sanaa, which means artwork in Swahili.
Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge has got the largest collection of African artifacts outside of Africa, and a lot of them is on our walls here in the restaurant.
Those artifacts include everything from drums to recycled glass and ornate gourds, plus colorful beads and African woodwork.
What we've got over here is a chair shaped in an African shield. If you go into African villages, you'll always find that on the doors there'll be these shields to protect the family. If you move over to the floor here, you'll see that we've got the giraffe pattern here on the floor, and it links in with our acacia trees at top. Now, our acacia trees is the giraffe's favorite mealtime snack, and it provides a lot of shade for families, and that's what we try and create here at Sanaa, is the unification of family and togetherness. I've got these beautiful lights over here. These are weaver bird nests, and the male actually makes these nests, and he invites a female over to see if the nest is to her liking. And if she does like the nest, they're together for life.
All this interior decor is inspired by East African spice markets, which also influences the menu.
The menu at Sanaa is really the art of African cooking with Indian influences. And how that really comes about is we follow the historical spice route from India leading down to Southern Africa and back up into Europe.
Whether it's in the food, the decor, or the experiences, it's all carefully crafted to inspire guests to continue to explore, even beyond the walls of the resort.
We want experiences that are challenging, they are different, they are as real as we can make them, because we want to reassure people that the world out there is a place to see, and you can start here. You can learn things here, and then you can progress from that and be reassured that the world is out there for you, and then there are things to see and do.
Coming up, discover film favorites in a whole new way at Disney's Art of Animation Resort, as guests step right into the storyline of a movie.
We love stories, and so these films give us great stories to tell, giving our guests a place where they can be immersed in the magic. And again, it's just attention to the details.
Plus, check out never-before-seen artwork and find out what makes this pool so... Throughout the decades, Walt Disney World Resort has remained firmly planted in the company's filmmaking roots through its character interactions and storytelling. And that heritage is more apparent than ever at Disney's Art of Animation Resort.
Walt Disney Imagineering was challenged to come up with a resort that celebrated the art of animation. So one of the concepts was to kind of take some of the great films that we have and bring them all here in this resort. So we selected Cars, Finding Nemo, The Lion King, and Little Mermaid. And so what's really great about those four movies is that the artistry that it took to do Little Mermaid is a little bit different than what they did at Cars, right? So it's a hand kind of crafted thing versus a digital interpretation. And then we celebrate them together.
That artistic celebration is on full display, an elaborate theming everywhere you turn.
We love stories, and so these films give us great stories to tell. And instead of creating an environment where you're replicating a scene, you're really just kind of giving our guests a place where they can be immersed in the magic that we do and in the artistry, and for them to experience it at a very personal level.
Here, the experience starts immediately when guests arrive.
We thought, let's tell the tale about the art of animation. And so when you come in through the porte-cochere, you look outside, and you'll see Simba on a big sheet of paper, you'll see Ariel on a big sheet of paper, and you start to see, okay, well, this is something about, the art of what went into this. And when you walk into the lobby, you kind of look around and everything's black and white. And so if you stepped into the animator's head, the initial thoughts of the movie would be in black and white. And so they're hand sketches, and we have this whole character development wall. You'll see images that have never been seen before. The further you move into the space, you'll see colors kind of coming from behind the check-in desk. That kind of looks like a color wheel. And when you end up at the rotunda, you've got fairly rendered images with lots of color that start to kind of form the images that we know now. And if you look up, we have a great chandelier. And if you look really closely, we have a couple autographs up there.
The final step of the animation process is honored in the food court called Landscapes of Flavor.
We have almost like an art gallery quality display of these incredible backgrounds and landscapes from each of the movies.
Step outside into the different courtyards and step right into the middle of the movies.
You physically become part of the set. And so it's not a particular scene, but you're there.
In the Cars courtyard, Route 66 leads to Radiator Springs and all its inhabitants.
The cars are human scale, so if you look at them, they're a little bit smaller than real cars, but they're like you would expect in the movie, but they're human scale. And so they're very approachable and you can relate to them.
Good boy. Accuracy was key when it came to all these beloved characters. So Disney Imagineers teamed up with their filmmaking partners to make sure the settings were perfect.
We partnered with feature animation on Little Mermaid and The Lion King, and we partnered with Pixar for Cars and Finding Nemo, so that we had the people that literally that drew the drawings and did the color scripts and did all of the work in creating these great environments at our side to give us direction to make sure that we were holding true to the story. So we literally took the model, the 3D models from the cars that they developed in the movies, and used them to create foam models to create the icons that are here.
In the Finding Nemo courtyard, things get supersized. Crush the Turtle is built 3 stories high.
The reason Crush is really big and the reason that Ray is really big, 27-foot wingspan, is because you're Nemo size. And so, of course, everything's really big.
Putting you right into the movie means putting you right into the sea. So the walls surround you with swimming fish, and the landscaping mimics the ocean's floor.
We found really kind of waxy plants so that it would give you the image that they're wet. And we have these snake bushes that kind of look like kelp.
Disney's Art of Animation Resort has over 20,000 square feet of water areas. And the big blue pool in the Nemo courtyard is the largest swimming pool at any Disney resort.
And oh, by the way, if you jump under the water, you're going to hear a soundtrack. It's the only pool at Disney that has music underwater. And again, it's just attention to the details.
The theming continues into the story rooms, specially designed with families in mind.
We continue to get great feedback from our guests. One of the things that we heard was more and more guests were traveling together. Multi-family travel, multi-generational travel, so grandma, grandpa traveling with their kids. And so we've gone into a family suite product now. These rooms are 3-room rooms. They sleep 6. It's got a little mini kitchen in it.
The Lion King suites that we're staying in, the 2 bathrooms are great. I've called dibs on the one with the tub, but it does give us a lot more room to spread out and just have our own space.
And the thematic treatments are just simply wonderful. When you walk into a Cars room or a Lion King room or a Nemo room, elements from the movie surround you.
Coming up, it's all